Silent Hill 2, the 2001 psychological cult classic lauded as the greatest and most influential horror game, has been remade for modern consoles. But how does it compare to modern titles, and does it still hold the crown? Having received a letter from his long-deceased wife Mary, James Sunderland returns to the town of Silent Hill in search of her, only to find it desolate, covered in mist and filled with monsters. Along the way, he meets a handful of questionably sane characters, including a woman named Maria who looks exactly like his late wife, only more confident and promiscuous. Resolved to find his wife and understand the events around her death, or possible survival, James ventures deeper and deeper into the nightmare. As someone who's never played the original but over the years has taken an interest in reading up on the series, I was expecting something special, but instead I was left with varying degrees of confusion and indifference. I'm not sure what the takeaway from the whole experience is, or if I can even recommend to new players. The atmosphere, however, is the shining star of the whole game. Being a manifestation of a person's inner psyche and negative emotions, not that the game ever explicitly tells you that, or anything for that matter, Silent Hill is intrinsically oppressive. With each new area leaning further and further into James's dark thoughts, so too do the horrors within. That being said, it's not particularly scary. Jumpy, for sure, but that's about it. Because the game doesn't do a great job of creating context, almost every major event or cutscene left me confused. I found myself wandering through areas, collecting memos, notes, and solving puzzles with very little understanding as to why or what they signified, if anything. While I mostly understand them now after researching and replaying multiple times for the Platinum, the themes that each area is supposed to symbolize left me with a feeling of indifference. Because of that, I didn't feel the horror as much as I probably should have. With a limited variety of monsters that are all easily countered either in melee or ranged combat with their long wind-ups and telegraphed motions, they become more annoying than anything. I grew frustrated quickly at having to stop to fight them just so I could continue looking for items and solving puzzles in peace. Until I get whacked by a hiding pair of legs again. It gets old fast. As someone who loves emotional and character-led storytelling, I was looking forward to a gripping story. Instead, the onus is on the player to read between the lines and piece together cryptic clues about the nature of each character and the locations you visit. James is an unreliable storyteller, and every interaction he has raises more questions than answers. I fear it's too much work for new players to understand, especially when the characters aren't particularly likeable or worthy of interest. The dialogue is unfortunately wooden and frustrating as they constantly talk around subjects and leave long pauses to convey an illusion of deep thought, but nothing really gets said, instead feeling more like they're talking at each other. In the end, Silent Hill 2 Remake works as a generally decent horror game with enough combat, puzzle solving and atmosphere to tick the boxes of what the genre does best, but the story didn't click for me. I fear that the censorship of modern day media strips away some of the context that made the original so shocking. As a standalone title, I'm not sure it lives up to expectations without having experienced the whole series, especially with certain endings. It takes a lot of work to understand, and so ultimately I can only recommend to lifelong fans of the series.